So they'll be calling you a radical. You know, I'm recovering from open heart surgery. So I've been watching a lot of documentaries. I watched the documentary about Stra, and I'm like, whoa. So, brought back so many memories in the late 70s. I was a real gifted artist. I won a statewide contest at 16 years old to go to college, you know, and I was a fucking wild kid. Drank too much, but I had this, I wanted. So I'm at Weber State at 16 years old in one of the most progressive, incredible art schools in the world, who now, by the way, is the worst art school in the world. The likes of Doyle Strong's there. One of the greatest activist artists ever you've never heard of. He turned me on to him. I'm like, holy fuck. Oh my God. So inside the documentary, of course, you know, DiCaprio's dad made it. It's good. But they quantum leap over a couple things. One thing is the fact that he worked at Rockydyn. Now, what's Rockydyn? Oh, Santa Susana, don't you cry for me. I came to Utah with a love for Santa. The nuclear disaster. When? 1958. Right when he was doing his tapes, whatever, but how the hell does he end up working at Rockydyn? So the documentary goes into, it basically jumps where all art jumps. Are you anti-Semitic? Are you not anti-Semitic? That's where we're at in this fucking world. It's unbelievable. His art, period, speaks for itself. So, listen. You're in Poland in the 1920s and the 1930s. Let's see, you're being squozed by the Soviets and Stalin, that fucking mass murder. You're being squozed by Hitler. What the fuck went on there? His art studio is bombed to the point where he lost his... I think about this, because I'm an artist and I have an incredible body of work. Can you imagine? He's Michelangelo on Balco, on chemo. Gone. You know, they've talked about this documentary almost 2 fucking years. 2 days under the... This dude was about as intense as it fucking gets. You know, in the documentary, that drawing that he gives to him, to Glenn. If that's not a masterpiece that doesn't belong hanging in one of the major museums of the world, I'm a fucking rainbow-striped giraffe. I cannot believe that we're still going to have a debate on, you live in Poland in the 1930s, and you're nailed as a nationalist. You're nailed to the wall as a... are you fucking kidding me? And you're going to pin that on his fucking back? Fuck, please. Please. His own fucking words. You know, the art that was being done in Germany at the time would blow your mind. They saw his work, they commissioned him, and they paid him. Hitler's regime. What did he do? He drew a drawing for a sculpture. He wanted to do a big one for Germany of Hitler in a ballerina dress, just mocking the shit out of him. That's an unarguable fact. I remember the first time I saw his work, I was 16 years old. I'm like, holy fuck. And then when these guys, and by the way, the underground art scene in LA at the time, of course, fuck, Doyle Strong's one of my fucking... Fuck, we love the underground art scene in fucking LA in those days. You know, by the way, you know how I am. I protested the MoMA. I protested all of these museums. I've been kicked out of the Natural History Museum. You know, fuck the establishment fucking, especially in LA. The establishment art community in LA make you throw up. To this fucking day make you puke. You're still going to fucking go down that road. It's pathetic. Bottom line, his work speaks for itself. I wanted to put this up. His work speaks for itself. You're talking one of the greatest fucking masters who ever walked. You know, his philosophies when he got old, who gives a fuck? He's an old fucking man. Who doesn't get out there? What mind, great mind in the... I always go back to John Goff at Berkeley. He went silver crazy, and you cannot fucking identify this brilliant body of fucking work when he's in his 80s? 90s? I remember, like, again, I was 16 years old, 1976, the first time I ever saw his work. Like, who the... My number one mentor in all of life, besides my father, he was Michelangelo. Look what they did to him. People don't even know how persecuted and tortured Michelangelo was for 500 fucking years. I was in Florence. You know, I got to see the church where he hid. I got to go under it and look at the walls. They're trying to kill him for years and years. Everybody says, oh, Michelangelo was a celebrity artist. No. He started out just like Strauss. Then he was the fucking heretic, right? For hundreds and hundreds of years. And I'm one of the guys who termed the term the great panty painters. I call them the diaper painters. You know, painted over Michelangelo's work. I got to go in the Duomo and see his second Leopard. The one he kicked over. He's frustrated. He says, there is no perfect. I thought there was perfect when I was young. He sold it, bought it back, so the arm was broken off. He tried to put it back on. It's my favorite piece he ever did. And I've seen the Leopard, and it's all that. So I just wanted to put this up. Bottom fucking line. Oh, the museums don't like him. The museums don't let him in. Well, who runs the fucking museums? Fuck them. Fuck them is right. His work speaks for itself. And nobody's ever not seen it. Holy fuck is all of that. Holy motherfuck. Oh. You know, what he used to call Picasso asshole. Reminds me of, you know, we don't even mention, you know, her name, Elsa Platz, do we? You know, this guy was Max Ernst on Balco. When it comes to pure data, Elsa Platz used to walk around New York City with a soup can bra. That's where Andy Warhol got it. That's where Deschamps got it. Warhol's Deschamps' bastard son. Remember, he lined him up in L.A. Tried to sell him on the shelf. Nobody would fucking buy him. The soup cans, Kevin Blanch, a 33rd soup can, cream of chemo biscuit on a fucking... Don't put me on a shelf. Elsa Platz. He used to call Marcel Deschamps Marsh Deschamps. He used to call Picasso. I just wanted to put this up. It brought a lot of memories as a young art student. When I was 16, my mom, the pinup artist at Woodbury, she rejected that art scene. You know, I could never figure it out. The pinup artist. That's my mother. I know now. I know what that fucking art scene is. You know, the underground artists in LA, I don't know these days anymore who they are and what they're about. You know, but I remember in those days. I want to put this up. He's still being blackballed to this day. You watch the documentary. I've never seen that painting before. Him leaning over and drinking out of that reservoir until this documentary. And he gave it to Glenn. That's a fucking masterpiece beyond a masterpiece. Like, again, that's Max Ernst on Balco. You know, we talk about I call it the ex-ab. You know, that whole fraudulent shit that was going on in New York. You know, with the fake Rothkos, with the fake fucking Pollocks. Just remember Pollock. When he got it finally accepted, Betty Parsons, you know, nobody bought his shit. Remember what he did when he went into Vanderbilt's house? When he finally got him, he kicked the fucking tables over and pissed in the fireplace. That's Jackson Pollock. So, you say whatever you want about this guy. I bottom line say one thing. Put all the political situation aside. You know, how can you put yourself in his fucking shoes in Poland in that fucking era? Oh my God, I don't think people realize what happened to those people. It's beyond brutal. It's beyond hardcore. It's like we're still calling Stalin a communist. He was a militarist. He was an imperialist. You know, Putin, the imperialist. You know, of course, America, the imperialist. Bottom line, his work speaks for itself. When the fuck's a museum? I mean, well, like I said, we know who the fucking museums are. I don't know what their trip is. Fucking LA. Their museums have always been a fucking joke. Always, always, always. New York, they're following suit. You know, me and Eric Oppenheim, Dennis's son, you know, all that protesting we did all those years. At the moment, those are masterpiece protests. Inside the Unnatural History Museum, you know, we faked like we were stuffed. You know, they did. It's a masterpiece. We got kicked out, but we were there a long time. Those are incredible activist artist protests. We'll quote him. Unless your art's making a statement, it's worthless. Oh boy. Artists take risk. And again, people don't realize Michelangelo, his art was unacceptable for hundreds of years. He's considered the greatest artist in history, the greatest sculptor of all time. Now, my favorite line is, "You're not such a great painter." And he didn't lay on his fucking back, by the way. And his old friends painted over all those. You're maybe not the greatest painter that ever lived, but you're certainly the greatest sculptor that ever lived. What do you attribute that to? My wet nurse came from a family of masons. Well, I'm a mason. I split my own rock. I got scars all over my body from fucking splitting rock. Plastering. Wanted to put this up. Put the political fucking bullshit from the 1930s away. Throw it away until you put yourself in those shoes. You had to be there. Why is his art blackballed to this day? And I would say thanks to Glenn. I hope somebody sends this to him. I never saw that fucking picture before. That painting. Oh my God. I had to keep going back to it. Took my fucking breath away. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'll say this again. Let his work speak for itself. You know, sometimes it takes hundreds of years. Stay in tune.